Welcome back to episode one, part two of John's Puzzles. Thank you so much, everyone, for commenting and responding. It has been really great. I've really enjoyed reading people's comments, and it's really great to hear from each of you. And yeah, it's brought me a lot of joy. So thank you so much for being in touch. I'm glad that for many of you, it's been a positive experience so far. And that you've enjoyed discovering new puzzles which you may not have seen before. There are a lot of great puzzles to come, but I am glad that many of you have enjoyed discovering Star Battles as much as I have. Um, there was some fierce competition in the John's Puzzle Star Battle competition early on. Sarah Tallentire came in with a 13-minute 20, and that was I can't really tell from the comments, but either already beaten by or quickly beaten by Rebecca McDonald, who held the record for quite a while at 12 minutes 30. But then something changed. But before I mention what changed, I'd like to give an honourable mention to Susie Hart, who managed to pick up a sub 20-minute time whilst feeding a squirming baby, and there's a lot to be said for that. So good effort, Susie. Well done. But the prize, it was a last hour attempt. It came in after 5 p.m. but still before 6 p.m. Which great effort goes to Julian Aquilina, who managed to do it in sub 10 minutes in a 9 minute 4 seconds. He sent me the screenshot. So congratulations to you. I think I will probably send out some kind of prize at some point for each of the puzzles. I haven't figured that out yet, but you know, I'll give it some thought. But anyway, congratulations, huge shout out to you, and please look out for other videos for you to have such a wonderful opportunity to have your name said live on John's Puzzles. What a great prize. I want to say if you enjoyed Star Puzzles or want to keep playing them, there's loads of good apps that are free online. You can just search on the kind of App Store, Play Store, whatever you use. But if you're a real sucker for punishment, then there's this website which is I'll go back for it. It's called gmpuzzles.com. I'll put a link in the description. And here they have a whole collection of really well curated, I guess, star battles. Just look at that. That's a thing of beauty, isn't it? By Thomas Snyder, who's infamously very good puzzle setter. Look, this one spells 2019. That's fun, isn't it? This one looks like it will ruin your brain with all of the S's. So yeah, if you want to really push yourself, then go for that, and you can just click on these little links here that says play online, and then have a little go at it. Japanese website, and you can kind of start going and start putting in things, and then realize very quickly that this is going to take you a long time. So yeah, there you go. That's something if you wanted to wanted to have a look at that. I might try and solve one of those at some point for you guys. But for now, I'm gonna be back later this week with a different type of puzzle. So please feel free to tune in and look for that. Once again, if there's a particular type of puzzle that you'd like to see, then be in touch with me, and I'll do what I can to try and solve that. And give some hints on how to do so. What follows in the rest of this video is going to be me talking through how to solve the two puzzles that I set, both the puzzle that the John's Puzzle kind of competition puzzle that we set, and then also the extension exercise if you're interested. But I will also probably post those as individual videos just in case you wanted to watch them separate from this. So yeah, I hope you enjoy those, and let me know what you think. Be in touch, and I will see you later this week. Bye. Okay, so here's a live solve of John's puzzle. Oh, pasted it in the wrong place. John's Puzzle Club puzzle for this week. And yeah, I really enjoy this puzzle because it uses a few of the things that we were talking about. So to start off, you'll notice this big long old 4 thing here, and that means that we know that there's going to be 2 stars in this column already, which means that we can rule out the stars from the rest of that column. this gives us a little 2x3 block here, and as we talked about in the video, if you have a 2x3 block, if I put a star here, then it rules out any of the other possibilities to put another star, which means that you can't have a star in the center or either of the center spaces, which gives you a domino, which you'll recognize, and you know that there's got to be at least one star in either of the two spaces of a domino, which means that we can rule out the spaces underneath it. Oh, and look, another little 2x3 block, which means that we can rule out the center. Oh, and look, another little domino, which means we can rule out there if we wanted to. At this point, you'll notice that there are 4 spaces for stars in the furthest right columns. You know, it could be here, 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 or here, or different formations of that. But that means that we know that none of these can be stars as well. We have this 4. It's basically a double domino, so we can rule out the spaces either side of each of the dominoes, which means that we can fill these in with stars, which is great because we can get rid of these, and that means we can fill these in with stars, which is great because we can get rid of that, which gives us a 3 domino, and the only way to split up the stars is to put them like that, because if you put a star here, then they'll be touching, which gets rid of that space, and it means that both of these rows are done, which is fantastic news. Now, if we were to look at the top shape here, we know that the top row has already got 1 star in it because of this star that's there, which means that there can most be 1 other star in this top row of this shape, which means that this must be a star because we can at most have 1 star in this top shape. Because if you have 2, it goes red because there's now 3 in that top row. So we know that that's definitely a star, and we can rule out these. Now we could look at this bottom shape in the bottom left hand corner and go, oh look, it's one of those 2x2 cells with an extra little bit on. So we know there can only be 1 star at most in this 2x2, which means that there is at least 1 in this domino, which means we can rule out those, which is cool. Now, using that little trick that we talked about, where you look at some of the rows, if you look at these bottom 2 rows, you'll notice that there has to be 4 stars in the bottom 2 rows, and 2 of them are going to be contributed by this shape, and that means 2 of them have got to be contributed in this 3x2, 2x3 shape here, and that means that neither of these can be stars because we've already got our 2 stars for this cage contributed there, and also because it's 3x2, we can rule out those 2 spaces, and that gives us another little domino where you know there's going to have to be at least 1 star in there, which means that we can get rid of that space, which means that this must be a star because of our 2x2 rule, and then we can get rid of these. Now we know there's a star in this bottom left hand corner now in one of those 2, and we know there's a star up here, which means that we've got our 2 stars for that end row on the left. And as you can see at this point, we're kind of cooking with gas really, and things are going fairly well for us. And here we've got another little 4, and we know that a 4 is just 2 dominoes, which means that we can get rid of the spaces either side of them. This means that we have only 3 spaces remaining in this bottom shape here, which means that this one must be a star, which means we can rule out that one, and that means this must be a star, and that's not a star, and that is a star, and we can rule out that one as well. Now there's only 3 spaces left in this row, so that one can go, and that one can go. And that one can't be a star, and that's great because look how many things this rules out. This is kind of awesome. Whee, bang. And it's just like I particularly like this one. The reason I picked this one out is because it's just using quite simple, continually using quite simple rules means that you can solve it fairly quickly. Because yeah, it's just a well-designed puzzle to be honest. Now, if you were to look at this this old cage here, you know you can't put both of your stars there because they'll touch, so this one must be a star. And what else do we know? We know that we know there's got to be another star here and a star here because they're the only spaces left in this column, which means that this can't be a star. We know that there's a 4, but that doesn't necessarily help us right now. This can't be a star because if it was, it would rule out all of those, and then oh no, it could, but then feels like it shouldn't be, but we don't necessarily know that for now. How do we finish this off? So there's a 1, 4. Okay, this is a 3, and it doesn't matter where you put the star in a 3. It will mean that this one can never be a star. That might help us. It might not help us. We'll see. And oh gosh, I'm sure you've probably seen how we finish this. I apologize for a bit of thinking time here. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. There's got to be a star here. It's the only space left in this cage, which means that that can't be a star, and that means that this must be a star, and these can't be stars, and these can't be stars, and that means that we are left in this situation, which means that, oh, come on, John. Geez, my mind is melting. Oh yeah, there's only one less space left in that cage. That can't be a star. That's a star. And we are done. We can click check. That's a 6-minute solve. But I have done quite a lot of these, and I hope you enjoyed some of the logic being used there, and particularly how I really liked at the beginning how the kind of cascade of dominoes. So yeah, that's my solve for that one. I will quickly now try and have a go at solving the harder one. I'm sure that might take me a little bit longer to work through. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed solving that. And yeah. I don't know if it'll be a separate video or keep watching, but in any case, thanks for watching. Hello and welcome, or welcome back to John's Puzzles. We're going to have a look at the hard Star Battle puzzle that was set as a kind of like extension exercise. Oh, that's not what we want. That's what we want, which was set as an extension exercise for the Star Battle kind of showcasing that we were doing. And so I thought I'd quickly run through how to solve it. So when you're looking at star battles, one of the useful things to look at is like what's small, because the stars will be much more restricted. So there's a little group of 4 here that we can see, and so that means that we don't have any stars to the left or to the right of that because it's taken all the stars up in that row. There's already 2 stars in that row from that shape. We can also now have a look and notice that there's going to be a star in one of these 2 and then a 4 star in one of these 2. So we can get rid of that option because we've created a little domino here where there's going to be a star here or a star here. I'm going to refer to that as a domino throughout, which is a kind of 2x1 shape where there must be a star. So if I say domino, that's kind of what I mean. So with this kind of 4 shape, we can go right across here and go right across here because we've got a double domino in the middle, which is illustrated by me clicking like this, but hopefully you can understand that it's 2 2x1 shapes. And by examining this a little bit further, you'll note that there's definitely going to have to be 1 star in this from this shape in this top row. And that means there can only be 1 more star in this top row given by this shape. There can't be 2 because then we won't be able to put another star in here, which means that there must also be a star here for there to be 2 stars in this top shape. That means we can go all the way around like that. This leaves only actually 3 spaces left in this what was of the 4 like thin shape, which means that we must put stars like that, otherwise they will touch each other if we were to put a star in the middle. Moving across maybe to this little Tetris piece shape over here. When you get a piece like this, you can never put a star in any of these middle squares. If you do, there's no more space left for another star. The stars have to go here and here. If you put a star in the middle shapes, in the middle cells, then you can't solve it. You can have a look, think about that if you want to kind of prove that to yourself. And at this point, if we look at this column, we'll know that all but 4 cells are filled, which means there's got to be 2 stars in one of these 4 cells, which effectively creates a similar situation to what we had up here, which is a double domino on top of each other. And that means we know that we can fill in the ones to the side of that double domino. We can see here that this 1 star up here means that there can only be 1 star in one of these 3 spaces here. There can't be 2 stars like this because that would be, as you see, and it goes red. And that means that the other star for the shape must go here, and we can go like that. But it also means that this can't be a star and this can't be a star, because there must be a star in one of these 3, and in doing so it uses all the stars up for that column. So at this point you might be screaming at me, hey John, what about this column, look, there's only one space left at the bottom, and well screamed, you're completely right, there is only one space at the bottom. I can't hear you, so you don't need to scream, but I appreciate your enthusiasm for puzzles. It's definitely shared by me. You're now probably going, oh, this bottom row, look, there's only the stars can only go, in one of these spaces in this bottom shape now. So these ones can't be stars because otherwise we'd end up having 3 stars in the bottom row, and you'd be right in saying that. So we can get rid of those spaces. Now, for those of you who saw my previous video on how to solve star battles, you know that you can only put 1 star in a 2x2 box, which means that, because if you have 2 then they meet, which means that if we have 1 star in this 2x2 box here, then there's definitely got to be another star in one of these 2 spaces, which is a domino, so we can fill in the adjacent cells, and that creates another domino here, so we can fill in the adjacent cells, and that creates another domino above it, so we can fill in the adjacent cells. Now, because we know there's a star either here or here, and there's already a star there, and we know that we cannot put any more stars in that array, which is good news for us. Oh look, and this star, now there's just a space here at the top where there must be another star to fill in the kind of penultimate column. And that means there can't be a star here. And oh, we've got another row here which has got 2 stars in, which means that there must be a star here. And that's looking all right. So in this row that we've just kind of helped create a smaller gap here, there's only 3 spaces for stars. Now, when there's only 3 spaces for stars, you know that the middle cell underneath those 3 spaces can never be a star, because it doesn't matter which place you put a star in, it's always going to block out that middle cell. That's quite another little helpful tip, which we didn't mention explicitly in the last video. And we might get another one. Oh, well, that's the same. It's showing like that's the same here with these 3 cells. Again, it's definitely not a star there. It's like doubly proof that there's definitely not a star. So don't be putting stars. I can tell you're trying, but just stop it. Stop doing that. That's not where the star goes. Similarly, you can look at this place here, and if you put a star here, what does it do to this kind of weird bottle opener kind of shape? And what that does is it means that none of these can be stars, and that means that you've only got 2 places and they're next to each other. So that means that this cannot ever be a star. If it was, then we force those 2 together. There might be another one somewhere in there. Okay, so we've got another 1, 3 here. So by a 1, 3, I mean there's a space for 1 and there's a space for 3 here. Now, when there's a 1, 3 kind of situation, either there's going to be 1 and 1 star in there like that, or there's going to be 2 in this top 3 bit. But in any case, there's at least 1 star in this 3, which means that there can't be stars against the middle rows. Because look, if you put it there, you put it here, you put it here, those are never going to be stars next to it. And there's a few more stars that we've kind of got rid of. Okay, so let's look at these left 2 columns. So if we do that invisible line thing, which is sometimes helpful, if we just look at these left 2 columns, we go, okay, how many stars are going to be in there? Well, we're going to have 2 from this top shape, and we're going to have 2 from this middle shape, and we're going to need all 4 of those in these 2 left columns, which means that we can't afford to have another star in this 3rd column, because if we did have another star in, if this was a star, we wouldn't have enough stars to fill those 2 columns, so that can't be a star either. And that is yeah, that was kind of starting to fill out in the middle. Often with the harder problems, it doesn't. You do have to kind of snipe off different cells until you kind of feel like you've made sufficient progress to be able to place stars. It can be a bit frustrating, but it's really satisfying when you figure it out eventually. Okay, so this space here. So if you put a star here, none of these can be stars, and that means that both of these have to be a star to fulfill the bottle opener shape, as it's now known famously. So we know that this can't be a star, and we'll just get rid of the ones that were there before. So that's 1 less space that could be a star, which means we're 1 one step further to knowing where the stars go. Come on, that's good news, isn't it? Okay, where can we go next? Okay, well we know that neither of these are stars because they're just next to the star. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this helps us out. So we know that there's got to be at least one star in one of these two. We know there's going to be at least, well, at most one star in one of those two, at most one star in that group of four, and at most one star in those two. And so that means that firstly, okay, so there's definitely one star in one of these two, and definitely one star in one of these two because how this shape works, which means that there can't be a star here, which means there must be a star there. Anything else that we can use from that? Oh, okay, not loads, but in this row here, I'll just highlight 3 stars in that row. They're the only spaces. These are the only spaces that a star can go in this row. Because we've talked about this a bit now, when you've got that in a kind of 3 formation, you know that this space can never be a star. That knocks off one more, and great. Okay, and now we've got dominoes. So we've got a little domino here, and we've got a little domino here. They're the only spaces that stars can go in that row. And with those dominoes, you know that if there must be a star here, it must be a star here, then these can no longer be stars, which means that there must be a star there, which means there can't be a star here, which means there must be a star here. I love it when this kind of starts to happen and you get this kind of chain reaction. It's quite satisfying. Okay, well, have we got anything else from that? No, maybe. If we have, I can't see it, which is okay, but keep working. No, can't see anything obvious. Okay. If you can, then keep screaming at the TV or laptop or phone or whatever you're watching this on. Probably not the TV. Let's be honest. What are the chances that you're watching this on a TV? If you are, comment and you'll win the You're Watching This on the TV prize, the sought after television award. Okay, what else can we do here? Well, that's an interesting one. Does that tell us everything we need to know? Yeah, it does. Okay, so let's say that this was a star. That would mean that none of these could be stars, which means that this shape here, kind of reverse bottle opener, is broken. So we know that that can't be a star. And that gives a 1 and a 2 left, which means that this must be a star, and that can't be a star, and this must be a star, and we should be pretty much there. That can't be a star. So breaking all the other rules if it was. One of those two is a star, 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 one of those two is a star. Okay, great, there it is. So that can't be a star, that's a star, that can't be a star, that's a star, that can't be a star, that's a star. Let's see if we can. Oh, there you go, that disambiguates that. So that can't be a star, so that's a star, that's not a star, that's not a star, that's a star, that's a star, and we are done. So we'll click check just in case, if I can find my cursor, there it is. 11:53, so that's quite a long solve, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. A bit more involved, but if you enjoy doing star puzzles, star battle puzzles, then you might be able to pick up a few little hints there to help you with some of the hard ones. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and keep puzzling, happy puzzling, and I will see you again for another video soon.